Hello and welcome to 50 Fabulous Knits. My name is Pia. I am a Danish knitter coming to you from my old farmhouse just outside of Copenhagen, where I live with my husband Peter, my best friend Anne, and now also since this past weekend with my youngest son and his lovely and amazing family. I didn't podcast last week. It's been 2 weeks since I last podcasted, so I have a lot to talk about. I have a new pattern release, I have some finished projects, I have some whips and some new cast-ons, and I also get to announce the first winner of our Knit and Be Kind cow. So I'm just going to jump right into it because this could take a while. First of all, what I'm wearing, because this is also the pattern release. This is my Palazzo shawl. And if you're a returning viewer, you will probably have seen this shawl before. I knitted, I finished it, 4 or 5 weeks ago. It has now been tested and the pattern has been translated. So today I published it on Ravelry and on my own website if you cannot use Ravelry. I'm just gonna take it off so I can show it to you properly. It's a big shawl. It's big. But because it is knit in sock yarn at a rather open gauge, it's drapey, lightweight, really, really nice. It's an easy knit, I would say. Interesting, but also super easy. You start off here with a garter tap, and you continue to do these garter edges all along. As you do the increases around the middle and just inside of the garter edge here. And you then do stripes first in stockinette. Then there is a little bit of color work. There's a lace section, and this lace is the same that I use in my Palazzo sweaters. That's why I call it the Palazzo shawl. A little more color work, some stockinette, and then just 2 rows of some lace, a little more stockinette, and then a 3x1 rib to finish it all off. This shawl uses 2 skeins of the main color. I have used my own hand-dyed yarn in the colorway that I call Snehvide, Snow White. Then it uses 1 skein of the first contrasting color, and here I have just used the undyed base of my sock yarn. And then you use a little bit, maybe 20 gram or something, of the second contrasting color. When I first saw the pattern, the finished pattern for this, I thought, wow, that looks so complicated and it's so easy to knit. It does look complicated because it's so difficult to describe what you're doing, but if you just follow your instincts, it's going to be super easy. Like a section like this one. When I was a new knitter back in the days, 40-some years ago, a section like this would have been described as do 4 rows of 2x2 squares. And you'd just go ahead and do them. But now you need to describe how to do it with the increases. So yeah, it does look a lot more complicated than it is. Just follow your instincts. It's simple. It's super simple. And it is, again, only 4 rows of color work. The lace pattern is super intuitive. very, very easy. If you have never knit lace before, I would say this is a very good place to start, because this is a simple pattern with a short repeat, and it's only a little part of the shawl. So as I said, it's available from today on Ravelry and on my website. I will, of course, link to the patterns in the show notes. And the show notes you can find by clicking on the link in the description box below. That'll take you to my own website where I have all the show notes for this and for the previous episodes. And that's also where you can actually purchase this pattern. So yeah, the Palazzo shawl. I am so thrilled to finally have it all finished and done. This doesn't really count. It doesn't at all count as a finished object, because that was what, 4 or 5 weeks ago. So, but this week I also have some finished objects. I finished my solitude blanket. Yep, there you go. This location is not perfect for showing off a blanket, but I hope that you get the idea of this. I shouldn't really be surprised that I finished it. Last time I showed it to you, I think I only put in a few more rows and then I made the tassels, and that's it. But this is a wonderful pattern. I really love it. It is basically a huge granny square. It has this very interesting center. It is round in the center with some wonderful stitches, puff stitches and crossed stitches and whatnot. It is so beautiful and so interesting to make. And then after that, you just turn it into a square and you just crochet for basically as long as you want, or as long as you have yarn for it. The beauty is that should I ever want to make it bigger, I can just take off the tassels and pick up where I left. Just crochet. There is no edging to this. You just finish and weave in the ends. So yes, highly recommend this pattern. The yarn is just some very cheap acrylic yarn that I got in one of the big box stores. I think I talk about it on my last podcast where I got this yarn, but I think you can get it pretty much everywhere. And I will say this is the perfect yarn for this project, because this blanket is going in my little beach house. So it's gonna take some beatings, some heavy wear. It's gonna go in the garden. It's gonna go to the beach and to the pool, and it's gonna be outside much of the time. It needs to just be able to go in the washing machine and being hung to dry with no fuss, minimal effort. And that is a very good yarn choice for exactly that. I just realized I've been showing you the back side. Shouldn't I show you the front instead? Way to go. Such a good podcaster. Look, the front side is actually even prettier than the back, right? Wouldn't you agree? The pattern was originally written for the luxurious spun cloud from Knit Collage, and I can only dream of one day making it in that yarn. But a blanket made in that yarn would never make it out in the garden. Never, ever. That would be just sitting on the couch, me petting it and being super careful with it. So this one, this can get some use. I also finished my hap shawl. When I arrived in Texas, I had made an order with Knit Picks for some wool of the Andes in this mink heather colorway. And my intention was to, years ago, I made a pattern for this huge cabled sweater that I want to knit up in this rather rough yarn. And I mean, that was a great idea. It would have looked absolutely lovely. But the yarn didn't want that. The yarn wanted to become a hap shawl. A big, chunky hap shawl, very traditional, only bigger, heavier in the weight than a hap shawl usually is. So I had to do what the yarn asked me to do, right? That's how we roll. So I went on Ravelry and I searched for hap shawls in a DK or worsted weight, and none of them were just exactly what I was looking for. So I decided, how hard can it be? I mean, it's basically just a giant square and then some borders around it. And it wasn't difficult. I started with a few stitches, increased and increased and increased until I had enough stitches, and then I started to decrease until I had a square. And from that point, I picked up all the stitches along all 4 sides of my square, and I knit a feather and fern border. That is this part. Just traditional feather and fern. The only problems was in the corners. But yeah, I figured it out. I think they turned out really okay, these corners. That's super nice. And then I had like a gazillion stitches on my needle. They were all scrunched up and it looked like, yeah, you know exactly what it looked like because I actually think I showed it on the last podcast. The way I bound off all these stitches was with a knitted on border. This final part, let me see, there you can see it, this final part. I just knitted back and forth, and every time I reached this end, I knit 1 stitch from the border together with 1 of the original stitches, and that way I bound off all the stitches all the way around. So the pattern for this border I found in an old book, which is available on Ravelry for free. I really like this because it's so simple. Many hap shawls for this outer border, they will have something with rather long triangles, and that was too much fuss for me. I wanted something more simple. So I really love this border, but I don't know. Either it's me, either I'm super slow, or this is just not a very intuitive pattern. I never got to memorize it. I mean, I knit it. I knit quite a few repeats of this pattern, and it's only a 12-row repeat. But I had to follow the pattern, look at the pattern all the time, all the way around. But anyway, I got the border that I love. That's much more important. And also, there is something special about having a work in progress where you really have to pay attention, where you can only be knitting, where you can't do anything else as you're knitting. That's actually quite nice. So I really enjoyed working on this border, and I'm just in love with the finished shawl. I think it's so pretty. Come winter time, I am going to use it around my neck, and it's gonna be big and chunky and a bit bulky around the neck, but I'm gonna need it, and I'm gonna absolutely love that. But until then, I am going to just use it over my shoulders, just like this, all summer long. In the evenings when it gets a little cold, or if we have a rainy or a coldish day, I'm just gonna tuck this around my shoulders. I've been wearing it non-stop ever since I finished blocking it. It is so nice, and I really love Wool of the Andes. It's such a nice yarn. It's like a little rough, it's not polished. I guess it's rustic. That's probably the word that I'm looking for, and really snuggly. So yeah, I'm very, very happy about this shawl. I am going to write up the pattern for it, just in case that others also want a big, chunky hap. I think I'm gonna name it the Happy Shawl, because happy. And I knitted at a time in my life where I was very, very, very happy. So that is only suitable that it gets named after that. This episode seems to be all about the shawls because, see, whoa, my half and half wrap. I can't even show you this. I can tell you that I am almost ready to add the second color, which means that I am almost halfway through this ginormous, luxurious shawl. I only need these stitches. Just need to turn over this handful of stitches, and then I get to add in the new color, which is super exciting. There's a lot of knitting in this, but this is what 2 very long flights will do to your knitting. I had only just started this shawl when I left Texas, but I brought it on the plane from Texas to Dubai. That was an 18-hour flight, something like that. That was a lot of knitting. And then we had one day in Dubai, and I thought, I'm just going to continue knitting on this because I really wanted to get some work done on it. But I couldn't. When I pulled it out of the project bag, I was like, no more. 18 hours was enough. But then I took it out again the next day when we were traveling home to Denmark, so I got another 8 hours in on it. So yeah, that will actually do a lot to a half and half wrap. I am knitting this out of the yarn that the pattern was written for, the Paul Soho linen quill, in the colorway pink peony, one of the two. Originally, I started it with some Knit Picks palette that I had ordered, but the pink color wasn't exactly what I was going for. It was a little bit too pink. I really like this. Is so dusty, muted pink. I just really love this color. And the second color that I'm going to pair it with is this. Black and white. In my mind, this is going to be beautiful, but I'm super excited to see how it will look once I actually add in the next color. This is one of my undyed bases. It is just one of these yarns where you have a black and a white thread wound together. I think it's gonna work absolutely beautiful together with the pale pink here. And I'm so excited to get to add in this color. I can't wait. I'm probably gonna do it tonight, I think, because I need to see where this will take me. I think it will be so pretty. I guess I have talked enough about this pattern on previous episodes. I'm not going to say a lot, just that I really love it. It's this kind of knit where you just pull it out and you just knit away happily, not worrying about a thing. It is so calming, so soothing, and the end product is just amazing. So yeah, highly recommend this pattern if any of you haven't tried it yet. I think almost everyone cast on a half and half wrap. This pattern comes heavily recommended from the Caddy Jacks podcast, and every time I watch an episode of the Caddy Jacks, I'm like, wow, I also want that color. And what about that color? Wow, that combination. So yeah, this is not my first. I do have an older whip where I knitted one half in a light brown and the other half in a variegated green. I actually think I'm going to rip back the green and try to knit stripes, black and white stripes instead for the other half. Wow, that would be great. But that's for later. I have enough going on right now. I need to finish this because this is a summer knit, isn't it? It is so light and beautiful and absolutely lovely. So, when I was sitting in Dubai, not knowing what to knit on, I decided to cast on for the second of my lily socks. The socks that I'm testing for the Danish designer Knitwear by Maki. The test knit she only asked me to do one sock for the testing. So I did that, and now I wanted the second sock so I could wear them. And it is resting very appropriately in one of her own project bags. I cast it on and I decided that I didn't want to knit socks. I was not in a sock knitting mood. I have, what, five rounds of ribbing. That was it. Then I lost patience, and then I decided to cast on for something else. I decided, here, let me just show you this project bag from the Urban Stitcher. Isn't it just beautiful? Isn't it just amazing? I really love this project bag. Inside of it is the very first beginnings of a dumpling kitty. Very, very first beginnings. But you can see that it's a kitty, right? It's gonna be a kitty someday. I wasn't in the mood for crochet. So I cast on a third thing. This all happened within a few hours, just sitting there in Dubai, not really knowing what to do. So I cast on a third thing. I cast on a third family sweater. I had promised myself, I know that, I said that on the last podcast, that I had promised myself that I would wait a while before I knit an Estonian braid again, but I have 2 grandsons. So this is for wonderful Victor, my grandson who just moved in here. His birthday is on Monday, so I thought, yeah, if I apply myself, I can finish this for his birthday, and I'm gonna finish it for his birthday. I'm not gonna say a lot about the sweater because I have talked so much about it when I was knitting one for Peter and one for John. But this is a size 2 years. Victor is only going to be 1 on Monday, but he's a big boy. He's like, what, 10 centimeters, 4 inches taller than I was when I was 1. He's a big boy. So I decided on a size 2 years so that he could actually use it for a while. And I'm sure that he will love the idea of twinning with his grandpa, because he is grandpa's boy. Wow. The rest of us can barely get to touch him. If he hears Peter's voice, he's like, yay, grandpa. So that's going to be absolutely wonderful to see them twinning in their family sweaters. That was it for the creative content. I also I have my striped t-shirt on the needles, but I didn't put in enough work that it really merits me showing it here. Also, I wrote the pattern for my Texas tee, but I didn't cast it on. I decided no more casting on until I finish just a little bit of what I have started. But my Texas tee is the one that I'm gonna make using these wonderful yarns that I got at the McKinney Knittery, all from Texas hand dyers. The pattern, now I just finished writing like the rough version of the pattern. It's going to be like a really oversized but slightly cropped raglan tee with some relatively deep raglan sleeves here, and then on the body, up here, the yoke is going to be all in this beautiful color from Blue Mule Fiber. And then on the body, I'm gonna make, of course, Texas stars, the Lone Stars. This is from Chasing Rabbits Fiber Co. And then I'm gonna do a little patterning and some hoof prints, of course, from the cattle that seems to be everywhere in Texas, in this beautiful color from Madeline Tosh. But that is something that I hope to have on my needles next week. I need to finish just a little bit first. Our Knit and Be Kind cow have been running for a while, and now I have drawn the first winner. We're going to continue the cow for one more month, and then I'm going to draw a new winner. I'm not a very good podcaster. I don't make things easy for myself. I started this Knitalong on Instagram. And then some people told me, oh, we don't do Instagram and we want to participate. Can we just then email you photos of what we're doing? Or couldn't you make a Ravelry group? And so after a while, I went ahead and made a Ravelry group. Now, usually if a Knitalong runs on both Ravelry and Instagram, and you do have two prizes, I mean, then you would draw one prize from Instagram and one from Ravelry. But I thought, now I started the Ravelry so late. So I thought I'm going to put it all together, one big pot, and just draw a winner. So I took all the posts from Instagram under the hashtag Knit and Be Kind Cow. And then I took all the posts from the Ravelry group, the thread for the Knit and Be Kind Cow. And then I numbered them all together, which it wasn't too bad. But then I used random.org to select a number, and then I had to do the counting. But anyway, I did it, and I came up with a winner, and that is Dorothy Freeman with this beautiful Instagram post. Congratulations, Dorothy. I already wrote to you, but I'm just going to show the prize that Dorothy is getting. It is a kit for the Kalatza shawl yarn and pattern, and it is a project bag from Knitwear by Maki, just like this one. And then it is handmade jewelry from the Lux Crafter. there is a bracelet and a necklace and an ear cuff. And I'm actually myself wearing one of her bracelets today. I love her jewelry. It's so beautiful. And I'm also wearing the ear cuff. I never wear earrings, but this cuff, it's not an earring. I don't feel too made up with it. I really love it. I'm wearing it all the time. So that will be in the mail for you, Dorothy. Congratulations and thanks for participating. And thanks to everyone else. You are still in the running for the second prize, because next time I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Take all the posts from Instagram and from Ravelry. Now I know the drill, you can say. And the prize for next month is this beautiful project bag from the Urban Stitcher. I mean, isn't it amazing? It's a sheep. It's knitting yarn on legs. Yep. It's a drawstring bag, and it has this handle that you can detach if you don't want it on your bag for some reason. And in the bag is going to be one skein of my own hand-dyed yarn, the sock yarn called Storm, in the colorway that is called Tivoli. And this has been generously donated by a podcast viewer who contacted me to hear if she could purchase a skein of this and then donate it as a giveaway prize, which is, I mean, wow. Thank you so much. And there's also going to be some stitch markers from Strik med Henny, a Danish maker. And I'm just going to see if I can take one out to show you, because they're so pretty. Just look at this. Look how pretty it is. This is polished amber that it is made out of. They're just so pretty. I am gonna link to all these makers who donated the prizes for this Knitalong. I'm gonna link to them in my show notes so that you can go and give them some love should you wish to. I mean, there is only one winner, so if you want to make sure that you get one of these things, please go ahead and support them. They're amazing makers. So thank you so much to everyone who participated. I hope you're up for one more month, because I have this prize number 2 that I really am looking forward to sending out to one of you. So now I've been through everything on my list for this podcast. Now I'm just going to spend a few minutes chatting about life in general, if anyone should care to listen to that. It has been a pretty hectic 2 weeks here. First, there was the saying goodbye in Texas, which was horrible. Of course, it was... He is such a bad son for choosing to live so far away from his mom. It's just not okay. Clearly, I didn't raise him well. It is so painful to say goodbye. But then again, when we're together like really intensely. We're together, and we really appreciate each other. So there's that. But still. The one day that we spent in Dubai going home was just a day of, processing the goodbye and preparing for the hello. It's actually nice to have a day to just reset yourself, to work through the sadness of the goodbye so that you can meet your loved ones at home with an open heart that is not tainted by the sadness. I actually appreciated the opportunity to do that. We had a really nice day. So yeah, lots of knitting and lots of just doing stuff, whatever we wanted. Then we arrived home Wednesday, early afternoon. It took some time to get out of the airport with all the testing. I mean, if I never have another person digging through my brain with one of these sticks, I'll be fine with that. I really don't like the nasal swab. But anyway, we arrived home. Peter's mom came to pick us up at the airport, which was so sweet of her. And she had then cooked dinner for us and invited our youngest son and his family to come and share that dinner with her. That was so wonderful to get a chance to say hello to them all and share a bit of our adventures. And yeah, we spent Wednesday basically just relaxing. We only opened one of the suitcases, and that was the one that had the presents for the grandchildren in it. The rest was just, yeah, they're probably gonna magically unpack themselves if we don't touch them. Then we spent Thursday and Friday packing up all our stuff, cleaning out everything and moving out of the house so that our son and our lovely daughter-in-law and wonderful Victor, who is our youngest grandson, and my darling Isabella, who is my oldest granddaughter, so that they could move in, because they're going to be staying in our home for a while. They just bought a new house and they need to do a lot of work on it. And with a little luck, that work is going to take a lot of time. I do sometimes fantasize about sabotaging the work down there so that they will be here for longer, because this is so nice. I mean, I have free access to 2 of my lovely grandchildren. I feel truly blessed that they have come to stay with us. I just love it. And yeah, we're tucked away in my craft room / storage for my web shop. But it's fine. We're very happy here. We couldn't be happier, actually, because we're here because they are there, and that is so wonderful. It is such a gift to have your children close to you. I really appreciate it, especially now, just after saying goodbye. Then it's wonderful to come home to this, again, being really close together. I am loving every second of it. So yeah, I've been busy. I have not been sleeping my time away since I got home, but that's okay. I've been busy doing stuff that I love to do, and I feel really energized and happy. Unfortunately, the weather is nice. I mean, the second morning we were home, we woke up with snow on the windows, and I was like, oh, this is Mordor. This is not fair. It's spring. Please, come on already. But it has changed now. There's a lot of light and sun, and yeah, it's still cold, but it's beautiful. And Denmark can be really, really beautiful in the springtime, but it can also be absolutely horrible if that's what's on the menu. You never know. I will say, usually in April, if you don't like the weather that you have, you just have to hang in there for around 5 to 10 minutes and it'll change. But now it's May. We want spring now. I hope that the weather we're having today is here to stay. Anyway, I'm gonna enjoy being home no matter the weather. Bring on the snowstorms, bring on the gray and gloomy. I'll be fine, because I have my family around me, I have my knitting, and I am very, very happy. I really hope that you're all happy too, that you're knitting away comfortably, that your knitting is giving you a lot of joy. If not, you should probably put it on a timeout and do something else. You can always cast on all the new and shiny and have fun with that. I'm so happy that you wanted to stop by my little home here on the internet. I hope you liked this episode. If you did, please let me know. Give me a thumbs up or send me a little message. That really makes my day. I'm so grateful for all these wonderful messages that I get from you guys. It feels like having real knitting friends, and I'm very, very grateful for that. I hope that I will see you again next time. I don't know when that will be because my life is going to be a little crazy here, but I will try to do a weekly podcast. Anyway, take good care and happy knitting until I see you again.